What's going on, gamers? This is going to be an interesting one to talk about, and it's PlayStation is embarrassing Xbox again. One, people were wrong about all that drama recently. You found out that's not going on. Xbox players are always embarrassing. But the thing here is that Sony just pretty much dropped, and some people are even saying it on Twitter, probably the best PlayStation Plus month of all time, or one of the best months like ever, period, for PlayStation history. After all the drama and people figuring out the truth, what timing, right? Whereas people getting to all this, Sony's like, here's the games, right? It's like, yeah, I think so. So we're gonna be talking about this, how PlayStation is doing things for the gaming industry. We're talking about what, PSSR 2, dropping exclusives already. You had Neo 3, you dropped MLB The Show, right? Soros is just dropping too. It's like, good state of play. Just made, probably a couple of mistakes. But other than that, it's like, no. If we're looking at this year so far, Microsoft's just talking. And they did one reverse on something they should have never did on Game Pass. But it has not been that attractive if you take a look at the games dropping. It's like, and you're getting their games and playing them at higher settings, right? So let's take a look at this PlayStation Plus monthly games for May. Oof, man, this is nice, because it's like, if you went to pay $10 just even a straight up and you didn't get a deal for like a whole year or two, do you think that this is going to be higher than the value of $10? It's not even a question. It's significantly better. Even just putting FIFA 26, though it's called FC 26 now, alone is like, damn, right? But Sony says, oh no, we're not just doing that for the biggest sports title in the world and the biggest sports in the world. We're going to be giving you Wu-Chang Falling Feathers along with that, which is another $60 game, and Nine Souls, which is an amazing indie game, Souls-like. So it's like, if you think about this combination right here, ooh, man. And then you just have like morons coming into the comments like this Caleb guy, just sold my PS5 for an Xbox Series X after I found out my games will be unplayable after 30 days. And this is what I mean by like these type of comments are fake. It's not realistic to reality. Nobody cares. It's irrelevant nonsense. Let's take a look at some real stuff here. But this quality right here is like, damn, this is stuff that you would think about. Hold on, is this a service drop? Like I'm paying more money, like Game Pass money, to see here's the next lineup coming up on Game Pass, right? The good thing about Plus is once you get it, it's forever in your library. You just have to activate it again. But yeah, this is like what I mean. PlayStation Extra, like super quality, Game Pass super quality popping up. And Sony was like, here's the response to all this drama. I'm not going to even bother because it wasn't about you. It was about fixing a security exploit. Interesting, huh? Yeah, guys. Crazy stuff. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about FC26 and what you think about Wu-Chang and Nine Souls coming down here. Going down into some comments, we see Wu-Chang is gold. The rest are crappy picks for the amount of money you ask. Play has a 30-day limit. Here comes people once again. This is what I mean by like the horde is not that smart. We've already debunked this. That doesn't exist anymore. When are you going to be transparent about the DRM policy? Dude, it's already there. But there's a lot of people probably don't know about it, right? See, this is the type of stuff that's going to be coming. I do think it's funny, though. But part of this is their fault for not officially making that statement that this is how things actually work. So that you could just put it on your Twitter, Sony, and just silence all of them. Unless, I guess, you just want that extra hypertension going on. This guy's insane, talking about another garbage month. Why do I always get my hopes up? It's always trash. Dude, how? Even if you're not into this, either something is a good month or it's not a good month. It's pretty obvious to see. But let's talk about some discussions here with this good month. Since 2026 has launched, Sony has had a really good state of play, right? We saw that. That was pretty good. And then they had Neo 3 as a console exclusive. It did not come to Xbox. They don't have that. Neo 3 did very good after the state of play, right? PSSR 2 launched and shown that now PlayStation 5 Pro and PlayStation in general has taken console gaming to another level when it comes to upscaling and teaming up with AMD and NVIDIA's face, who got so insecure that they came out and had to drop their DLSS 4.5, red light district models out that everybody was hounding. Because why did you do that at that day? Because you kind of felt insecure that AMD, who has always been your competitor, is teaming up with Sony to make an advancement that's making you kind of insecure. Definitely for the price point value proposition, because before that it was still $750 compared to what NVIDIA was doing, making everything absolutely ridiculous, right? Pricing people out insanely, telling people to go get their own chips and all that for RAM and all that. It's like, wow, really? And PSSR 2, ever since it has dropped, has blown up and has put PlayStation 5 Pro in the comparison league with PC, making PC gamers insecure. Like, these are the moves and waves that PlayStation has been doing this year. We're not talking about Nintendo. We know they dropped Poco Pio, probably the biggest game of the year so far. like out of nowhere, you know, undercover. It's like, man, we didn't expect that, right? Microsoft showed off certain things, but they haven't dropped anything major that is doing anything. That recent game turns out to be trash, right? So it's like, what are you really doing? Nothing. You just went to put Game Pass to a price increase that it should have originally went to if you wanted to do that last year. Like I said, meanwhile, PSSR 2 is dropping, right? It's making waves, making gaming better than ever for price point value proposition that cannot be matched. Then Sony drops MLB, another one of their games, right? Let's talk about it. And that's doing very well. That hit the charts, right? PlayStation's still selling very well. Xbox is still, in a way, not doing anything. The sales have tanked down significantly. They can't even outsell the Switch 1 still, no matter what. They didn't do any price drops for their consoles. They're not subsidizing. And it's like, okay, so you're doing all these reverse decisions, yes, but I want to see some results that are actually like making it impactful and beneficial. That has to show. If not, then you're still getting embarrassed big time. You get outsold 10-1 now. Sony's dropping exclusives. They dropped the State of Play showing you how many games are coming out this year. It's returning back to exclusive only. Certain games are not going to PC. And then they just got another good gacha game, Neverness to Everness, that dropped recently. Soros is coming out tonight officially. So it's like, look at all of the stuff that Sony is doing when it comes to playing games and having better gaming experiences and providing that. And it's only in their ecosystem. Ghost of Yotei did not get announced for PC. Right? You didn't see it, right? And that dropped a free expansion this year. Whole new expansion with all types of content. They didn't charge anybody for. We're talking about results that are happening right now that gamers can play and benefit from. Game Pass is not really doing anything amazing, and it's not growing. They need to make it do something. So far, Microsoft Publishing is not doing well. They dropped Starfield that had bugs, that did not do well. It didn't move millions of units like a usually Bethesda game would do. It didn't even top the charts on PlayStation. MLB outsold it easily, a game that Sony's launching yearly. You see what I mean? It's like, it didn't make the waves that you would think. So Microsoft bought Bethesda, but for what type of publishing power, development power? We're not really seeing it. Starfield is a failure deep down inside. Sony also dropped Marathon. It's like, how many games has Sony actually already dropped already? And how many exclusives did they have too, third party and first party? And Marathon's not doing anything amazing, but everybody's saying it's actually a good game. And they're doing well with the roadmap. So it's like, when I see what PlayStation is already doing this year and what's also coming around the corner compared to what Xbox is doing without any like exclusive identity power or anything, it's like the only good thing you did recently was to do something you should have never done. To truly do something good is to truly do something good that actually benefits gamers from the get-go, and you keep it there. Not saying I'm reversing a stupid Microsoft decision. It should have never done that. Just like I said with the same thing with Outer Worlds 2. You should have never tried $80 with that. So the reason why you reversed it is because it didn't work. Not because you're doing something good. That's the difference. Whereas like if Sony really had that DRM policy and they had to reverse it, then you tried to do something terrible, but that wasn't the mistake. I mean, that wasn't the case here, right? That was a mistake that people did not fully grasp. And that's why I say that, like, if you're looking at the difference is still here for impact on gaming and actually making things happen. And when GTA 6 launches on that PS5 Pro, along with these other games, Marvel around the corner, Wolverine, all that, you're going to see the impact, and it's going to move console units. Nintendo is impactful, and they're moving console units. Microsoft needs to find a way to move hardware and lower the price. Because so far, they have not really had an impact on the gaming community to help it. It's still dragging it down. Look, if you go over, this is what I just said. This just dropped for PlayStation right here. This new gacha game, and it seems to be a hit at the moment. 1.2 million views. Neverness to Everness is now available on PS5. Get into car crash chases. Yeah, you should say car crashes too, because it is kind of has like GTA stuff. Enjoy the nightlife with a date and chase the moment in the city of Hetheru. So you see this all coming in because this is what you call Sony not answering things. It's like you should have done that, but everybody knows what it is now. So that's another huge game if you guys don't know about it. It's free to play. You can go play it. It's doing well. But yeah, getting back to PlayStation Plus Monthly, this is what I'm talking about. This is the way to answer the crowd. Because even if you didn't say anything, if people misunderstood it, how is it your fault? It's not. But you should have silenced them by saying, no, this is how things work. People are putting out graphs now, but I would like to see the official PlayStation page actually come out and say it as an official statement, how things fully work just from PlayStation, so that it can just solidify everything down permanently. dope. We already know, but you guys get what I mean. So that's why I wanted to make this video, because I'm like, take a look at what's going on when it comes to impacting gaming, benefiting all of gaming, and giving you games and content and having it in that ecosystem. You see what I mean? Whereas Microsoft is on thin ice because it's like, Fable has to be good or you're in trouble as a publisher now. That's what you have left. Gears has to be good. Forza, we already know is going to be good. That's your given golden ticket right there, because we know that's going to be well. And even if it does come to PlayStation later, if you take a look at the sales, they were just showing recent Xbox sales. Forza is the only game that did that. And then Sea of Thieves sold a couple million as well too, because it was cheaper. But even then, Forza Horizon 5 did really well on PlayStation. Sold over 5 million copies. Probably on its way to 6 or whatever. Outside of that, no other game sold over 1 million. It's kind of looked like in the Steam numbers for PlayStation, though PlayStation had more sales, and they almost made 700 million off of PlayStation 5. Xbox did. That's the type of publishing power they do kind of need. They need to get 1 billion publishing profit. You see what I mean? Stuff like that, or revenue. That's like what Microsoft has to do, and they have to branch out now more to Nintendo, because it's not going to be enough. And that's when you realize the IPs that you have still don't have the power that you think they do. Forza does. Hopefully, Fable and Gears can get you at least 4 million sales or something like that. Gears has to sell 5 million. You know what I mean? Fable has to sell a couple million, but I think that Fable needs to sell 5 million across all devices. Same thing with Gears. And I think that would be okay. If Microsoft could get a game to sell 10 million, that would be crazy. But Forza, I think, is the only one that's going to be able to do that. But if something else does it, State of Decay 3, that's another game that has to sell like 5 million. If you could get into that range, I think that you would be okay. Obviously, Call of Duty sells that, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Microsoft games, which like, no, this is like kind of came from you. We know what Call of Duty is, right? So, yeah, other than that, it's like you need PlayStation for Call of Duty, though. So everything that is going to make you better outside of Steam is going to be on the PlayStation platform. So who's benefiting publishing for Microsoft the most then? PlayStation and Steam. That's why I say that they're still embarrassing you, even in spectrums that you kind of want to be strong in, that you spent a bunch of money on. You can say what you want about Bungie, but Destiny 3 will be fire if they drop it. That's all they need to do. But Call of Duty needs to perform better, and that Bethesda acquisition needs to be better. Because you spent so much money on Activision. Nothing compares to that. The Bungie stuff is nothing. They even spent more money on Bethesda than Sony spent on Bungie. Bungie can make ground if they get Destiny 3 up and going. And Sony is like teaming up with them to focus on that. I think in the long term, they can actually be fine with that. But the question is what's going to be going on in the Xbox world, where you're going to make actual impacts and movements and waves in the gaming industry while people are seeing results. Not all this, this logo's here now because it was that before. This price is here now because you should have never did that. But what is the impact? Let's see the results. Let's see you benefit gaming. Can you do that? You know what I mean? Are you at the top as a publisher now? Is your Game Pass subscription, since you changed things now and you're putting more games on there, growing by millions and millions of subs? You have a long way to go. You talked about this 100 million thing and all that. You ain't even came close to that. Could you even get to 40 million? You see what I mean? It's like, that's the type of stuff you have to do. Other than that, how? You know what I mean? It's just going to be Steam, PlayStation, and Nintendo then. And you needing them to stay very relevant. You have to find a way to be relevant. You can't stay at the prices that you are. Even if GTA drops, sure, people still might buy that as an alternative to PlayStation, but I don't think any PC gamer is thinking about the Series X. If Sony and Rockstar find a way to crack that to get 60 frames per second, man, if that happens, I'm telling you right now, you know how impatient certain people are. They don't care if they got the money. And nobody's going to want to go buy your console if they can get that PS5 Pro and run that 60 frames per second. Sony's going to be able to get an insane advantage if that does that. So, yeah, I mean, huge months, like I said, for PlayStation. Crazy drama before this. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Peace out. Keep gaming no matter what platform you're on. We just got to be realistic over here.